Oi, fala aí pessoal, bom dia. Você está escutando
O inglês no rádio.
I am your host, Foster Hodge. This is your daily dose of English. Hey, Alexia, how are you doing?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing great. So, first of all, let me ask you, how was your first 4th of July in the U.S.?
It was awesome. It was a boat day with
A boat day?
dogs. Yes.
Yeah, we were on a boat, a lot of dogs.
We are on a boat. I'm on a boat. Everybody's looking at me.
Are you
Na, na, na,
referencing
na, na,
that
on a
old
boat.
SNL skit?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yesterday...
that's funny. Super exciting.
No, I'm just exhausted today from our long day yesterday. So, on the day before 4th of July, also known as July 3rd, we talked about Trump and some of the weird things he says, some of the, I don't know, his key phrases, and just some of the linguistic issues around his name and his popular phrases, right?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to have even more fun with Trump and just talk about a handful of words that he cannot pronounce at all.
When you say a handful of words,
A group.
yes, muitas palavras. Grupo de palavras.
Yeah, doesn't have to be muitas. A handful is literally something you can fit in your hand.
Okay.
So you can be like a handful of jelly beans or a handful of words, right?
Right.
Okay, so what we're going to do is just listen to some funny audios of Trump trying to say normal things, and then we'll talk about them, okay?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so the first one is a classic one where Trump is trying to say one of the most famous celebrities in the world, and he clearly does not know how. So let's take a listen.
Those words that Jay-Z said or that Beyonce said the other night?
Beyonce.
Yeah, so you want to listen one more time?
Yes.
Those words that Jay-Z said or that Beyonce said the other night?
Beyonce. Yes.
Yeah,
It's Beyonce.
yes. So Beyonce, one of the founding members of Destiny's Child, Beyonce,
Yes.
Mr. President. It's not
Beyonce.
Beyonce. I've never heard anyone else say that. What do you think about that, Alexia?
I remember it reminds me of all the French words in English, the way we should.
Exactly.
say
Normally
it.
we put the A at the end, but obviously Mr. Trump did not listen to that episode. So another area where Trump has a lot of problems is with countries, which obviously should be important for any president. You're dealing with a lot of international relations, but for some reason he either can't pronounce or pronounces in very weird ways a lot of countries. So the first one I wanted to look at is the pronunciation of Tanzania. So do you know how to say Tanzania in Portuguese?
Tanzania.
Yeah. So Tanzania, country in Africa. Not everyone knows it, but most people know how to pronounce it. So
Tasmania.
let's listen to how Trump says it.
Look at what happened in the 1990s. Our embassies in Kenya and Tanzania.
Tanzania. Just almost like Portuguese. Tanzania.
Not even close, though.
How do you say this in English?
Tanzania.
Tanzania. It's not even close at all.
Remember, we're not talking about Tasmania,
Uh-huh.
which is totally different. It's an island off of Australia. We're talking about Tanzania, the
See?
African country. Let's listen one more time.
Look at what happened in the 1990s. Our embassies in Kenya and Tanzania.
Tanzania.
He mixed up.
I don't think he mixed up. I just think he has no idea. I mean, he's talking about Kenya and Tanzania. They're both African countries. Not really close.
Wow.
Okay, so Alexia, you do know that there's this big thing with Russia and Trump. There's a big investigation going on.
There is a big thing with Russia and everyone else.
Yeah, Russia's getting in everyone's business nowadays. So let's listen to, this is the day after that Trump fired his FBI director and fired him via tweet, I believe. And then the next day, everyone was thinking, okay, why did he fire him? Is it because of Russia? It can't be because of Russia. That would be illegal. So he went on NBC the next day and said this.
There's no good time to do it. And in fact, when I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. It's an
Russia.
This Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
Russia.
So with Russia,
Russia.
so the correct pronunciation is schwa, Russia.
Russia.
Okay, you're saying Russia. You're almost saying it like Trump. So it's just just like America.
Russia.
America, Russia.
Russia.
Okay, you're saying Russia.
I'm trying.
Okay, so it's just
Okay.
Say the sound Okay,
Russia.
sha.
Russia.
Much better. Much better. Nice. Very good. Okay, and another country that we have complicated relationships with, and Trump says all the time, is China. So the pronunciation of China is just chai, just like vai with a ch sound in the beginning, and then the schwa, China. And technically this is not a mispronunciation, but he just says it really weird, and I think you'll hear why it's weird.
Let's say China. 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 You go over to China. 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 You take China.
China.
China. I love them. China.
Do you notice why that's weird?
Why?
He's really just the intonation. So I think he's saying China, 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 China. And he's really putting a lot of emphasis on the chai and then not so much emphasis on the other part. So I would just say China.
Yeah,
It's
China.
very relaxed. And he's just really exaggerating both vowels. I don't think technically I would say it's a mispronunciation, but when you hear it, him say it so often, you just think like, wow, he's saying that in a very, very strange way. Okay, so let's just do a couple more. So one really interesting one for me is the word industry. Can you say that for me, Alexia?
Industry.
Yeah. So industry, the stress is first on the first syllable, industry. And the second syllable is the schwa, in duh. But for some reason, Trump puts the stress on the schwa, which never happens in English. So let's take a listen.
If you look at the retail industry, the insurance industry, the oil industry, coal industry, the banking industry, other industries, the energy industries, the regulation industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the drug industry, the lumber industry, every industry, the automobile industry, or as we call it, the car industry.
So he's saying industry. So technically, if you're changing the stress, like in the word industrial, we would put the stress on the But with the word industry, we say industry. And he's saying industry. And it's just weird for a businessman, a 72-year-old businessman, also the president of the United States, is just completely putting the stress in the wrong place on the word industry, which has to be one of the most important words. One more, Alexia. And I think this might be my favorite. So a lot of times we talk about the way that Brazilians pronounce things in English, like Facebook, YouTube, and they just put their own accent on it sometimes, which I think is a good thing to do. And Donald Trump tries to do the same thing sometimes. So let's just finish with this one.
We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. And we also love Puerto Rico.
So in English, generally we say Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
Can you try to say that?
Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So we just put all of those R's, those American
Right,
R's
right,
together. And then in Spanish, you would say Puerto Rico. And then Trump, for some reason, thinks you say Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico.
But this reminds me of trying to say, what was it your dad the last
Costa Rica.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very similar.
Yes.
Very similar. But the point of today's episode was just to have a fun episode. And for all of our students that are discouraged or not feeling happy with their pronunciation, I can guarantee you your pronunciation is probably better than the President of the United States.
So keep on learning.
Thanks, guys. Puerto Rico. Let's go listen to Beyonce. See you tomorrow.
Bye.